diversity in the role, and we're actually able to go into team preview now. So this is the first top 8 game here at the Birmingham Regional Championships. It's going to be Rachel and Annand's team of Tapu Lele, Drifblim, Buzzwole, Nihilego, Arcanine and Snorlax, and Matt Carter's team of Hariyama, Tapu Koko, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, Scizor and Salamence.
Yeah, so actually Arcanine being the only Pokemon that these two trainers have in common, and I'm pretty sure that at least from Rachel's end we are definitely going to see that, because as we were mentioning, Scizor can do a lot of work against her whole team. But yeah, I think Arcanine being so present in the current metagame, probably the single reason why we don't see more of these Scizors. So yeah, both players seem to be excited to be getting into this game. And yeah, do you think we're going to see that Tapu Lele Drifblim combination like she was using against Matt?
I think the Hariyama might scare away the Nihilego from the lead, but we actually know I'm completely wrong. I swallow my words entirely. We see the Arcanine and Nihilego coming out, Tapu Koko and Scizor coming out from Matt's side of the field. Maybe Rachel, fearing that Scizor didn't want to bring the Tapu Lele straight away.
Yep.
But the Arcanine on Rachel's side of the field is in a nice position to be able to do some big damage to Scizor if it gets the chance to.
Certainly.
One of the things that we saw before, actually, in yesterday's game is that Arcanine is also carrying the Electrium Z for Gigavolt Havoc.
Ooh.
So if we see Tapu Fini on Matt's side of the field, he's going to have to really worry about keeping that safe.
Exactly, and we were saying how we think that Tapu Fini would be a really good partner for this situation, especially against the Drifblim and Tapu Lele lead combination, because Tapu Fini's Misty Terrain would not only allow Scizor to go for that priority Bullet Punch, but also block a potential Will-O-Wisp coming out from that from the Drifblim. So as you were saying, Arcanine in a really good spot now, can decide to either Flare Blitz into the Tapu Koko or the Scizor, and also the Nihilego can probably just go for a move here, because Scizor has been intimidated.
Yes.
And there is always the threat of Arcanine switching into Tapu Lele, so we're not even sure if Matt would just go with a Bullet Punch, but he does.
Unfearing there, going straight for that Bullet Punch onto the Nihilego. We actually can see the Z move activate. This will be on Matt's side of the field. It is going to be Electrium Z onto that Tapu Koko. It's going to be doing some massive damage here in electric terrain.
Yeah, usually that Arcanine Nihilego combination is something that's really solid, because you, with the Nihilego, usually have a Pokemon that is pretty fast and doesn't really take too much damage from Tapu Koko. However, seeing with that Bullet Punch and also now here the Gigavolt Havoc, on the first turn, Matt is able to do a lot of damage, however, not without taking the Sludge Bomb.
Yeah, Sludge Bomb coming out from Nihilego will pick up the knockout here. So one Pokemon gone down from Matt Carter on his side of the field. Nihilego has not revealed an item though. It's going to get a Beast Boost and his special attack will rise. But I can totally understand why Matt would try and target down that Arcanine, which is such a massive threat against his Scizor. And obviously, if he does have the Tapu Fini in the back as well, that might be an issue. I like the lead of Matt as well. If Tapu Lele was led from Rachel, he had the opportunity to Volt Switch if Tapu Koko knew it, and then bring out Tapu Fini if it's in the back, and it is.
Yes, and there is the Tapu Fini coming in, so cancelling out the electric terrain. Misty Terrain could potentially protect Scizor from some burns, but yeah, usually Arcanine would just go on the offense here, go with that Flare Blitz, which would knock out Scizor in one hit easily. So we still do have the threat of Bullet Punch on that Nihilego. However, both trainers know that there is a really high potential that the Tapu Lele is in the back for Rachel. So if she switches Arcanine into Tapu Lele, preserve that Intimidate ability for later, set Psychic Terrain, Nihilego should be pretty safe to get off an attack here.
And the Tapu Lele is on the field now, Psychic Terrain, overwriting Misty Terrain. No priority attacks are being able to get off from Matt, but he reads into that as well, switching out his Scizor, saving it in the back for later. Arcanine going to hit the field on his side of the field and drop and Intimidate. The attack stats of Tapu Lele and Nihilego going down, but that doesn't really matter for these special attacking Pokemon. Protect coming out from Tapu Fini. Maybe that was to see if Rachel would go for the Wild Charge or the Electrium Z Gigavolt Havoc, and the Protect activating on Tapu Fini there from Tapu Lele's attack.
Yeah, both players going for a relatively calm move here. Of course, Rachel was trying to get off that Sludge Bomb here, and I think there was also a decent chance that Matt would just switch out his Tapu Fini, expecting the Tapu Lele to come in, so that he could cancel out the Psychic Surge on the next turn. So yeah, Sludge Bomb would have been able to hit in the Arcanine, so even though the Protect on Tapu Fini might seem kinda obvious, I still do like that play from Rachel to not give Matt any ground here to go for that switch.
And speaking of switches, we see Tapu Fini leaving the field in favor of that Scissor coming in once again. And then we're going to see the Protect coming out from Arcanine here, not wanting to take a Power Gem from that Nihilego, which will be super effective. The Psychic going into that slot as well, so we might see a double up here. Yeah, we're going to see a double up into that Arcanine, prioritizing the damage there.
Yeah, really good play here by Matt, because now he got himself into that position where he has the Tapu Fini in the back, and now he threatens to switch Arcanine into Tapu Fini, cancel out Psychic Terrain, and then also go for a Bullet Punch to knock out that Nihilego, or just Bullet Punch into the Tapu Lele if Matt is feeling like Rachel might protect the Nihilego. So, yeah, if you're Rachel, now what you could do is call back the Tapu Lele and protect Nihilego, so that then next turn you once again have the opportunity to switch back in Tapu Lele, and there's really what these terrain interactions are all about in this
feels
format.
quite similar to VGC 16,
Yeah,
Marcus.
that's actually true.
Like weather control, terrain control. We don't see, I mean, we do see sometimes the interaction between the two, but this is a game which will be entirely based around these terrain tactics.
Exactly, and that's really what something pretty unique that only Scissor introduces, because threatening those KOs with Bullet Punch left, right, and center is really something that doesn't happen too often, because usually you have your Kartana or the Celesteela as the Steel type, and there, yeah, the Psychic Surge doesn't really matter. Looks like, though, this time Scissor will switch out in favor of Tapu Fini, so not exactly the play that I was predicting.
But we see the Tapu Fini coming in, setting up that Misty Surge. Arcanine on Matt's side of the field is at -1 attack now. Ooh, a nice activation of the Misty Seed onto Arcanine's special defense. So he will have boosted special defense here. Let's see how much his Psychic does. That is still a surprising amount of damage. Just taken down to half HP. That's the Life Orb there. And a Thief. We were talking about this yesterday. Really interesting choice from the Arcanine here, taking that Life Orb.
Yeah, really interesting interaction. Arcanine actually taking some Life Orb recoil damage the turn. It went for a Thief to take it over, and I actually didn't know that is how the game works here. But yeah, very unique interaction. Tapu Fini switching in, activating that Misty Seed, so now Arcanine does not have did not have an item anymore. Could go for that Thief. Now, yeah. Life Orb, I'm not sure if that's the best item, of course. Matt probably would have preferred it if he was able to take one of those Super Berries. So yeah, if he was able to predict that Arcanine switching in on the Nihilego slot, then that could have been really huge. However, Rachel decided to just switch in the Arcanine. She didn't really want to get into any of those Scissor mind games, to just bring out the counter and switch in that Arcanine.
Force a switch on Matt's end and just really keep the pressure on him to make calculated switches, which is what he does now, bringing in that Scissor in favor of the Arcanine. Moonblast coming out from the Tapu Lele on Rachel's side of the field into that Tapu Fini, so going for some nice damage there, even without the Life Orb. It shows how offensive Rachel's Tapu Lele is, and she has gone for that Gigavolt Havoc. You'd imagine this is going to be a double up into that Tapu Fini slot to remove it from the field.
Yep, so even without that Life Orb, yeah, with doubling up here with that Gigavolt Havoc based off Wild Charge most likely, this should be a pretty clean KO if this attack is directed into the Tapu Fini, which it is. So a very good play here coming out from Rachel, eliminating that Tapu Fini from play, and now if she decides to call back that Tapu Lele, she will be able to set Psychic Terrain for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
Because both Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini now have gone down.
And that's one of the most important things about dealing with this Scissor matchup as well. Now that Matt is down to just one Pokemon left on his, just 2 Pokemon left on his side of the field, that means that Rachel has full control to be able to switch her Pokemon in and out, and maybe give up the Nihilego here, so it's not as important in the matchup, or save it in the back so she can have that for the Arcanine. But with Arcanine on the field threatening Scissor, you'd imagine it's gonna go down pretty quickly here.
Yeah, no more resources here for Matt to switch out that Scissor, and something Rachel could even do is just call back both Pokemon, and even if her last 2 Pokemon faint, it doesn't really matter, because getting off another Intimidate and Arcanine always being able to KO, to guarantee the KO on Scissor, makes it so that she can really plan out this endgame and just take home this victory in the first game.
Really nice switch out from Rachel there to preserve her Tapu Lele, bringing in the Drifblim, which is interesting to see it come in the back, actually. The Flare Blitz from the Arcanine on Matt's side of the field doing a fair amount of damage with that Life Orb boost, and speaking of fair amounts of damage, Flare Blitz 4 times effective onto that Scissor, removes it from the field in 1 hit, and taking a whole load of recoil, losing Arcanine in the process.
Yep, so now just Tapu Lele can come in, will likely activate a Psychic Seed on that Drifblim, and then yeah, those two together. Yeah, if you're familiar with how VGC 17 works, then you should have seen this duo at some point.
Yeah.
And yeah, Arcanine on its own, even boosted with that life orb that it stole from the Tapu Lele, probably won't be enough to deal with the two. So Rachel will be taking this first game, and I can only imagine that she has to feel really confident here, because even though Scizor was a big threat here, and she was always under pressure from it, it never felt like Matt had a commanding position where he could just go for safe moves and take some KOs. And yeah, in fact, the only Pokemon that went down for Rachel was that Arcanine that fainted from the recoil damage. So it wasn't even an actual move coming out from Matt, which just goes to show that yeah, he wasn't able to find those super effective moves this game. Maybe played a little bit too conservative with his Scizor, because yeah, as we were saying, he had the opportunity to at some point maybe switch in the Tapu Fini, cancel out the Psychic Terrain, and then just go for a Bullet Punch into the Tapu Lele. But of course, as we were saying, there's always so many options. Do you expect your opponent to read into that play, and Arcanine being like just waiting in the back to come in whenever that Scizor hits the field for Rachel was really yeah, one of the main factors that allowed her to play the way she played.
There are multiple factors going into any decision-based game like Pokemon, but I think also the fact that these guys are on stream, they're playing for their tournament lives at this point, and also in a very switch-based game that Matt's playing, if you don't make the right turn on some of these turns, it can really swing the momentum out of your favor. If you're Matt, do you think that you want to go for the same tactic again and just try and put more pressure on Rachel to have to like react to you with your Scizor? Yeah,
I think one of the main Pokemon on Rachel's end that gave problems to Matt was that Tapu Lele, because even though he has two Tapu Pokemon, he wasn't able to get into the position where he could comfortably play against the Tapu Lele. So one thing, I'm not really sure how exactly the Scizor and the Tapu Lele are trained, but one question that is to be asked is how much damage does Bullet Punch actually do? And yeah, we didn't actually get to see that at all, because Matt he didn't want to risk attacking into that Psychic Surge, so instead he just protected and switched. But I really would have liked him to play a little bit more aggressively with that Scizor. Maybe if he has it set up a Sword Stance, because then he wouldn't even have to worry about Arcanine coming in for Intimidate, because yeah, Bullet Punch would still be a clean knockout.
An interesting thing about Rachel's Tapu Lele, we did see the Life Orb, which Arcanine stole from it, and it also moved before the Arcanine as well, so it kind of leads you to believe it's a little bit faster, a little bit faster trained, which probably means it isn't as invested in defenses, which means that if Matt is able to keep Scizor healthy and keep it around, maybe he'll be able to pick up that key knockout and swing the game back in his favor here in the first of our top 8 games at the Birmingham Regional Championship. Yeah, both players have shaken hands, and we will jump right into the second game here. Now, yeah, Matt has... This is his last chance, really. If he loses this game, he will be out. Of course, top 8, still a very good accomplishment. He will go home with some prizes, of course. But yeah, you really want to make it all the way to the finals, of course, if you made it that far. And you really don't want to come back on Sunday morning after such an incredible day yesterday with a good performance from him to then just go out in the first round of the top 8. Well, he has made the adjustment that he feels will keep him in this game. He's going to bring that Salamence and the Hariyama going up against the Nihilego and Tapu Lele from Rachel. Yeah, so he's switching things up entirely because neither of those Pokemon were seen in the first game for Matt. So he really felt like, okay, this really didn't go according to plan, but I'm not really sure how much I like this. No, it's very switch hard for him. Because, yeah, as I was saying, the Tapu Lele was giving him most trouble, and now he's picked 2 more Pokemon that are weak to those Fairy-type attacks. Nihilego being lead of choice for Rachel, also giving that Salamence a fair amount of trouble since Power Gem is super effective, and thanks to the really good special defense of Nihilego, yeah, Salamence, if it is a special attacker, probably won't be able to do too much damage. It'll be interesting to see what targets Rachel prioritizes here, and I believe that Matt, noticing that his lead situation isn't the best, will either have to protect and switch at the same time. That leaves Rachel open just to start throwing out some big damage, especially with that Life Orb boost on the damage output from the Tapu Lele. Speaking of switches, we see Tapu Fini coming in to overwrite that Psychic Terrain, which means that Hariyama will be able to get a Fake Out off if it wants to. It doesn't, it's going to get a Psychic instead. So Psychic going into that Hariyama slot, it does survive here. Okay. So that possibly leaning into Hariyama having an Assault Vest. Yes. Nihilego is going to go into Tapu Fini with that Power Gem, looking to get some big damage off. Slam. Okay. Here we go. Is this going to be able to pick up the knockout on Tapu Lele? It looks like it is, yes. Wow. Okay, what really a good switch. Coming out from Matt here. So,
yeah, we were thinking like, oh, Salamence and Hariyama against the Tapu Lele and Nihilego, that really doesn't look too pleasant here for Matt. But instead what he was doing is he lured his opponent into a false sense of security where Rachel was just really thinking like, what exactly do you want to do? I'll just
press
attack.
the buttons.
Yeah, exactly. Like super effective move here, super effective move there. But thanks to this cool combination of Assault Vest and Heavy Slam, Hariyama all of a sudden turns into a Pokemon that can actually beat Tapu Lele in a 1v1 encounter.
Well, this is one of the beautiful things about these terrain interactions, and Matt's team does really seem to rely on being able to control the terrain and make sure that all the damage output is in his favor. So he is going to switch out the Hariyama here, dropping an Intimidate onto the Arcanine and removing Hariyama's attack drop as well. So Arcanine going down to -1 attack, a Protect coming out from Tapu Fini here, not wanting to take any more damage from a Sludge Bomb from Nihilego. It does attack into that slot there, and Flare Blitz coming out from the Arcanine is going to go into that Salamence, just trying to pick up the knockout on the Hariyama and trying to even things up, but Salamence not taking too much damage there.
Yeah, so it looks like Matt now really one step ahead, nailing every prediction so far in this game. However, that Nihilego is still sitting in a very strong position. Since Sludge Bomb threatens Tapu Fini, Power Gem, maybe potentially with extreme speed, threatens to knock out the Salamence. And yeah, Matt really has to come up with an answer against that Nihilego. And so I really hope for him that Scizor is his last Pokemon. Because, yeah, that would be able to threaten Nihilego with that Bullet Punch. However, of course, Arcanine being the partner of Nihilego always makes it difficult to bring that Scizor into position.
How do you do that? Especially with, you need to have Scizor and Tapu Fini available. Actually, no, you don't even need to have Tapu Fini available. If Tapu Fini's on the field, it needs to be able to not be hit by a Gigavolt Havoc and drop a big Muddy Water onto that Arcanine. A Protect coming out from Salamence here, and we're going to see the Sludge Bomb targeting down that Tapu Fini. This is going to do a huge amount of damage here, and it will pick up the knockout. Tapu Fini unfortunately going down before being able to deal with this Arcanine.
Yeah, so this time it was Rachel who made the right call, expecting that Salamence to protect, potentially doubling up into the Tapu Fini even to cover for a potential Scizor switch in. And yeah, going for that Flare Blitz, but yeah, Sludge Bomb of course already enough. So now Hariyama comes in, and another option that would really help out Matt is if that Salamence was a Dragon Dance set, because then Hariyama could go ahead and use Fake Out on the Nihilego that is now also boosted thanks to the Beast Boost ability after getting the KO on Tapu Fini. And yeah, if Salamence was able to get up that Dragon Dance, it could then outspeed Nihilego for the next turn.
A Protect coming out from Nihilego here, doesn't want to take a Fake Out into that slot. Hariyama will target it down there, making sure that the fastest Pokemon on the field does not move, and Marcus reading the game here. Dragon Dance coming out from the Salamence will boost its attack and its speed. Arcanine going to go for the Flare Blitz. You imagine this is going to go and try and target down that Hariyama just to put as much pressure onto Matt's side of the field as possible. Hariyama going down here, and now Matt has got his back to the wall.
Yeah, based on his team, I actually was expecting a special Salamence, because you already have Scizor as a potential setup sweeper. But it looks like instead Matt, playing there potentially with two physical setup Pokemon in a metagame where Arcanine and Intimidate is so present. I mean, I'm not sure like how exactly how well that strategy usually plays off, but of course he has made it into the top 8, and yeah, with Tapu Koko and Tapu Fini really helping out there against potential Arcanine, looks like it has worked out for him. However, we're not seeing Scizor as his last Pokemon. Instead, it is going to be the Tapu Koko, so that really means that Salamence needs to have like Earthquake or something, because
some of the physical Salamences that I've seen before have run Flynium Z with
Fly,
so maybe that's an option that Matt wants to go for. Usually they run Dragon Claw as well to be able to deal with Garchomp. It'll be interesting to see what Salamence goes for here.
But then he won't be able to deal with that Nihilego, since all of that, I don't think any of those moves should be enough to get the knockout there. So he's going for a double Protect here, just to probably bait out a Protect on Rachel's end, or trying to scout out for this Z move, as we do see the Gigavolt Havoc now coming out from that Arcanine
in electric terrain. So
electric terrain.
if Rachel was able to hit through avoid a Protect here on Matt's side of the field, this could do some massive damage. But really nice Protect play from Matt to cover all bases here, and especially when he's got a boosted Salamence that he needs to keep around to be able to deal with all the Pokemon that Rachel has left.
Yeah, Salamence will still take a little bit of damage here, but yeah, not really too much. And now the question is, can Tapu Koko and Salamence, that now do outspeed both or probably all of Rachel's Pokemon, can they be able to take home this game for Matt? Yeah, again, it really comes down to how much damage Salamence can deal to that Nihilego, because Arcanine, yeah, as we could just see, it's not too much of a threat here against that Salamence. We do see Dragon Claw coming out, and that is an attack that does enough damage. Dragon Claw, not really seen super often because of Tapu Fini's presence, and he also has it on his own team. But it looks like, yeah, for the consistency on this Dragon Dance set, yeah, he still decided to go with that Dragon Claw, and here it's really paying off.
A wild charge coming out from Arcanine, going to go into Salamence, take a little bit of recall damage. Even with the electric terrain up, not doing too much damage there. It is only neutral, and still Matt in a decent position speed-wise, and that's a really important thing. Snorlax coming in for Rachel now. Really bulky Pokemon to have in the back.
Yeah, this is a really close call, because Arcanine will have extreme speed available, and that could potentially knock out the Salamence. It's going to be close. I think Salamence might be able to survive that attack though, and then it could fire back with another one of those Dragon Claws, since it has that boosted attack stat. And then it really comes down to if Tapu Koko and Salamence combined are able to take on the Snorlax. But of course we know with that 50% berry it's pretty likely to have. And then also like Curse and Recycle being some options here.
Rachel actually revealed Curse yesterday on stream, so we see the Protect coming out from the Salamence now, wanting to preserve it just to make sure that it doesn't go down without a fight here. We see Arcanine going to take a Thunderbolt from Tapu Koko. It does get the knockout, so Rachel down to her last Pokemon here, and Snorlax being a very viable option for that last Pokemon. High horsepower going to Tapu Koko, picks up the knockout.
That is a critical hit, and that
is rough.
That is really rough, because I doubt that would have KO'd without it. And now Matt, that's a little bit heartbreaking, because yeah, he was playing down to this end game. He got the knockout on Arcanine, and now we're actually seeing a Z move. So if this is the
Randium Z.
Okay, Tectonic Rage. Okay,
very interesting choice.
He did have Earthquake the entire time and didn't use it against Nihilego and Arcanine. That's pretty interesting.
Well, he actually chose to protect his Tapu Koko back alongside the Salamence, so which means he couldn't go for that play.
Yeah, so he
really interesting choice.
Yeah, he was probably expecting that Focus Sash on the Nihilego. Either way, now this is what it comes down to. Can this Tectonic Rage take out Snorlax in one hit? It does a lot of damage, but it's not enough. So yeah, if Rachel just attacked here with return, that should be enough to knock out Salamence. And that means that Rachel Annand will move on to the top 4 of the Birmingham Regional Championship. Matt Carter, on the other hand, finishing in a respectable top 8 position though.
What a game, Marcus, what a game. Some really interesting Pokemon coming out from both sides of the field. And Matt, that critical hit did really scupper his